We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. This is our third segment on Saturday. You know, I just closed the last segment with a rant because I'm volcanic. I'm not angry. I'm volcanic. I'm tired of the lies, and I'm tired of the tyranny, and I'm tired of the treason. And if you're not, you must be living under a rock.
And there's lots of those in Missouri.
This is what's happening in our nation daily now. Daily is an absolute unmitigated disaster. And I'm going to tell you something. American men, it is time for you to stand up and take a stand. You better be prepared to leave your families for a while. You better be prepared to put up with some hardship, some cold, some hunger, some disaffection, because this nation is coming apart at the seams. And I promise you that we are in for a war like we have never seen. This government is working right now to destroy you. Its sole goal is your demise. They are utilizing your fear, and they are feeding upon your apathy. This will require one of two things. And I pray that American men have the courage and the fortitude to stand up and do the right thing before we are obligated to move to the second stage. We cannot afford to go there. We need millions upon millions upon millions of men to stand up and stop being a bunch of wimps. Milquetoast. Well, I'm afraid I'll lose my job. I'm afraid that I'll lose my home, my car. I don't want to give up my Lexus. Let me tell you something. You're going to lose it all anyway. You're about to lose everything that you've ever worked for. You're about to lose everything you've ever owned. You're about to lose everything that you've ever trusted in, believed in, confided about. You are about to lose your right to have your ability to speak freely. You've already lost it. Your First Amendment is dead. Your right to religious freedom is dead. This tyrant traitor in the office has already stolen your right to religious liberty. He's forcing the Catholics to pay for abortion. He's forcing churches to accept 30 pieces of silver in the form of a 501c3 to keep their mouth shut and keep you as a congregation contained. They are telling ministers at the National Council on Churches that it is their job to keep civil unrest under control. Your own pastors, your own ministers are betraying you.
They're holding them hostage, Mike, because what they do is they say, if you want to be a tax-free organization, you better get a grip on the people in your church.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't care who your pastor is. I don't care how good you think he is. If he is telling you, if he is not leading you in this war on terror, this is a war on terror from a grassroots, from the bottom up. A war on terror against our own government because you are being tyrannized and abused and usurped every single day. This will require literally tens of millions of men of courage, men of fortitude, men who have brass. Put your little metrosexual dreams away and stand up. Stand up, strap up, and get ready to fight. Massive civil disobedience. Peaceful, civil disobedience in massive numbers is what is required. You know what civil disobedience means? I'm going to give you the definition of it. constitutional obedience. That's the difference. You are either constitutionally obedient or you are already enslaved. Massive, peaceful, civil disobedience. You know why it has to be peaceful? Because if we move to the Second Amendment, all hope is lost. Our union will break apart like a wooden ship in a monster storm. Our union will be dissolved. It will be the end of this republic. And it will create open, gouged wounds that will never heal. There isn't enough thread to sew them up. We're still fighting the damn Civil War from 1860 in the southern states. How do you expect a civil dissolution of the Union to be healed anytime in the next 500 years? The Second Amendment is the ultimate deterrent, and apparently it hasn't worked. Because the tyranny and the abuse and the usurpation of power and authority by the scumbags in Washington, by the scumbags up in your state capitals, they are eating out our substance. What part of the Declaration of Independence are you not familiar with?
For most people, most of it. You know, if
where is your courage, men? Where is your heart? Where is your fortitude? Where is your belief that you are a man of self-truth, self-worth? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Your life is at stake. The lives of your wives, the lives of your daughters, the lives of your sons. We are losing our nation. And we are losing our nation at a pace that is inexcusable, indescribable. It's rapidly going away so fast it's lifting like fog on a sunny day. Don't you smell it? Don't you feel it? Don't you hear it in the wind?
Mike, listen to what Daniel Webster had to say about that. I am committed against everything which, in my judgment, may weaken, endanger, or destroy the Constitution, and especially against all extension of executive power. And I am committed against any attempt to rule the free people of this country by the power and patronage of the government itself.
This nation has been taken over by a foreign usurper. He sits in the seat of power, classifies himself as the President of the United States, passes orders by executive fiat that are absolutely designed and geared to bring about your demise and your enslavement. Those of you who don't die will be productive members of his new world order. Every member of Congress, every member of the House, every member of the Senate, every member of the state assemblies and the state legislators are either complicit or they have committed malfeasance in office for not stopping it. Every god-darn one of them. I'm telling you, there is not a single exemption. I'm telling you right now, this nation is either going to rise up in massive civil disobedience and starve this beast and march on the castle with torches and pitchforks and remove this monster from our village and our town and our community and our counties and our states and our nation, or we are going down in flames.
And Webster further says, it is hardly too strong to say that the Constitution was made to guard the people against the dangers of good intentions. There are men in all ages who mean to govern well, but they mean to govern. They promise to be good masters, but they mean to be masters.
You got it. They mean to be your master. I don't care how well-intentioned. In fact, Jefferson made it abundantly clear when he said, let's not rely upon the ethics and the good intentions of man. Instead, let us bind down government with the chains of a constitution. Because we can't count on their good intentions. We can't count on their ethics. We can't count on their morality. We can't count on their integrity. And folks, if you ever wanted proof of that, it is everywhere about you. Constitutional obedience equals massive, peaceful, civil disobedience. Now, who are you going to follow? The laws of a usurper? The laws of a tyrant? Or the rule of law that exceeds the rule of man because it was created by nature, nature's God? There is natural law that exceeds anything and any law that any man can ever write. And your unwillingness to adhere to that will guarantee your death. Natural law. It existed long before the United States of America. It existed before the birth and the creation of man himself. These are laws that all nature must follow. Gravity brings things down. That's just a fact of life. Natural law cannot be avoided. It cannot, you can't do an end run around it. It's the way in which the universe operates. Usurpers intend to violate it.
Hi, it's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Mark Stein, James Lilacs, the regular Thursday gang. Only the hosts are different. My vacation guest hosts, Guy P. Benson, Mary Catherine Ham, continue to hold forth on all the news of the day, but they do so with calmness, the world Stein, and none other than Lilacs. Do not miss a minute of the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
Sundays from 6 till 7, following Money Talk with Bob Brinker, it's the Weekend Journal with Hugh Hewitt on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Coast to Coast AM brings the Ozarks a whole new feel for radio. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. Where else would you get callers talking about everything from UFOs to war trends, from mental energy to anomalies, and from lost knowledge to aliens? Listen to experts and researchers who are part of the guest list every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk. Don't miss Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Midnight to 6 a.m. every night here on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point.
Quick announcement. Somebody just stole Fast Eddie's radio from outside the station. It was a Grundig. If you picked up that radio and you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, you got 45 minutes to bring it back here. That's all I'm going to say.
And we're sending out the boys.
You got 45 minutes to bring that radio back here.
That is pretty petty.
What kind of a man or a woman are you? I want to make mention of a couple of our sponsors, and then I'm going to finish this discussion about where our nation is headed and why things are coming apart. Make sure that you get over to Greg McLaughlin's place at blackopsschoolofcombat.com. You can call him at 417-255-1612. He's got a date for June 29th for a concealed carry course, $75 per person. Course is 8 hours in length. He'll also break, if you can't make a weekend course where it takes a full 8 hours, he'll break it up into 2 nights for you. If you bring 5 people with you, your particular class is free. $75 qualifies you to go get your concealed carry. If you don't know by now that you need the right to carry concealed in this nation, I don't know what you're waiting for. www.blackopsschoolofcombat.com 417-255-1612. Make sure that you see our friends over at the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue at 257-7799. Kevin's got all kinds of preparatory equipment over there, and he's also got long-term food. He's got Mountain House food in cans, and number 10 cans, and bulk food. You can go over there, make sure that you ask him if you want to participate in our co-op program. Ask Kevin if you can see the co-op catalog when you show up there. Just go down to battery station and say, I'd like to see the co-op catalog. You'll save 50% on your food bill. Our friends over at West Plains Pawn on Route 160, just past Walmart, 256-3000. They've got about 400 guns at any moment in their facility. They've got ammunition, accessories, optics. He's even a Class 3 dealer, so if you want to get yourself a sound suppressor, you can. If you want to get yourself a fully automatic, you can. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance down in Mountain Home. Good friends of ours. They have a facility down there that they carry they carry Wise Foods, they carry Mountain House Foods, they carry Noah's Pantry Foods. They have a full supply of camping gear and hunting type products, and they have a brand new website they're going to be unveiling next week. You can reach them today via phone at 870-492-4030. That's 870-492-4030. Next week, they're going to have a brand new website kicked off. In fact, my company built it for them. And it's a full e-commerce website where you can order products right online. And I think you'll be very impressed with their selection and their product. They have Wise Foods, so you can buy the big bulk, the tubs of food and have it shipped straight to your house. And that is one of their big sellers over there. So make sure that you get a chance to visit their website. Right now you can go to their older site, which is ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. Their new website will be ozarksurvivalgear.com. ozarksurvivalgear.com. And the old site will link to the new site as soon as it's finished and on the air. It should be up on the air next week. Pizza Hut over on Porter Wagoner. Tuesday night is family night, and kids under 12 eat free. Make sure that you get over to Pizza Hut. They have a great salad bar, and ask for Bree when you get there. She's my daughter and the best server that they've ever had over there at Pizza Hut. Our friends over at Stone Construction. Give Bill a call if you're doing any kind of construction work, 2930116. And make sure that he does farm and residential, commercial, the whole 9 yards. So make sure that you get a chance to see him. And go see our friend, or you can visit a website that called Spring Creek Beef. That's a friend of ours that we built a website for as well. Spring Creek Beef is a 100% grass-fed. No antibiotics, no hormones, no nothing. They start with grass, they end and finish with grass. There's no grain that hits their belly. And I have to tell you, it's the best steak and the best beef you've ever eaten. In fact, I ate a steak of it last night. So make sure that you visit Spring Creek Beef, and they're located right in Pottersville, but they can ship around the nation. And they ship in a styrofoam container with like dry ice. And I'll tell you right now, this meat is so good it qualifies for restaurant grade quality. So you'll be very impressed with it. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. This is Chuck Ferguson. I was listening to your program this morning, and I hope I can share a couple observations that I've had, watching everything that's going on in Washington right now. But it's frustrating when you see these bureaucrats come before a House and Senate committee and basically take the fifth, not discuss anything. They don't know anything. And I think what you're seeing is the bureaucracy is now taken over, and I think that is a result of operating for 4 years with no budget.
It's also the result of 4 years of operating with no integrity.
Well,
no
yeah,
honor.
But let me follow through on the only way you can control bureaucrats is through the budget process. In the state, every year the departments have to come before the budget committee, and the budget committee actually has power because you have a bottom line that you deal with, and that comes with how much money you have and where you can spend it. And you have those constraints. On the national level, the system is set up now when you operate with no budgets and you govern by continuing resolutions, the bureaucrats have all the power because the power is in the purse strings when it comes to officials. And what you're seeing is, and I don't think you'll ever see another budget passed on the national level. I don't think either party wants budgets because it means you have to have fiscal constraint.
Right.
And I think you have more people that want to spend money than actually save money. And what you're seeing as a result of that is because a bureaucrat can now sit before Congress because Congress has lost all of its power and ability to control anything. A bureaucrat can sit there and say whatever he wants because he's going to get his money anyway.
Right.
And the frustrating part is like this Blueways deal that you're talking about. If the politicians had control of a budget, you could simply kill it by going in and carving out the money that goes to fund the program.
Well, the Western States Caucus of the House and the Senate already has a letter out there where they have told them that they stripped the budget already from it, and they told them that they cannot do this. In fact, we've got a letter from them that states emphatically that they were told not to do this. They were told that this was a usurpation of states' rights. They were told that they were prohibited specifically from doing this, and they're doing it anyway.
But how can you cut money out of a budget when you don't have a budget?
Because they just print some.
It's lip service. It's called PR with the politicians. The only way you control a bureaucracy is to control the money that goes into it.
Well,
when you're governing through,
how do we starve the beast then, Chuck? How do we starve the beast? Because they're not going to pass a budget, so that means we got to take the money away from them. How do we do that?
You've got to. Congress has to take back their authority. They've given away.
They're never going to. They don't want to take back their authority. They are happy the way it is. You heard that scumbag from this morning who says that it's unfair that they're being saddled with the obligation to participate in Obamacare. I mean, here's an elitist mentality in this group that is completely outside the scope of what any American would ever even consider to be remotely appropriate. I mean, I don't think they want any more. They don't want any rules and restrictions on them, and they recognize that in order to take back, then they're accountable. They don't want to be accountable. They just want to run around like kids playing house.
Well, I agree with you, and if you're asking me what can be done, look, you got supposed to have a Republican House. The budgets originate in the House. Well, where's the House budget? Why not lock the House down until you pass a budget? But you don't see that leadership because I have to agree with you. I believe that both parties are complacent with what's going on because they can spend money where they want with no constraints. Now,
I'm going to go one step further. I think they've been compromised. I think they've either been promised a seat at the table when this thing collapses, or the NSA, utilize, and the FBI and all of these other groups have some kind of dirt on those who weren't compliant before but suddenly are now. Look at McCain and guys like him, where Lindsey Graham, right? I mean, who the hell is Lindsey Graham to come out and say you're not covered by the First Amendment if you're a blogger because you're not a legitimate journalist? I mean, the First Amendment applies to every living human being. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're licensed as a journalist or trained by Columbia University as one. I mean, my point is this. These people have been compromised. Either they've been compromised by their long terms in office and they've just become complacent, fat, dumb, and happy, and they know that they are operating under malfeasance, or the NSA or the FBI or somebody's got some dirt on them and they got a picture of them with a little boy or a little girl or a cocaine straw up their nose or a picture of somebody other than their wife, or they've been promised a seat at the table by this administration when this thing completely explodes and collapses.
Right. I think the one silver bullet, if you're going to expect Washington to clean up Washington, we're,
that's a false hope.
That's a false hope. I guess what my opinion is.
Can you ride with us through this break? Because I'd like to have a quick, hammered discussion about what exactly, how do we starve the beast? Because frankly, without the money, they can't do anything. And I have to tell you that starve the beast mentality on states will take an effect within a 30-day period because they're hand to mouth. The federal government can print money, but they can't print money enough to support themselves and all the states when the states are out of money. And they've got to be able to acknowledge that, coupled with massive civil disobedience. And when I say massive, I mean 25 million Americans who are going to stand there and say, We have had it with you. Can you hang with us for the break?
You bet.
We'll be right back, folks. You're listening to America's Voice Now.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Colorado's Black Forest Fire has burned more than 470 homes, but firefighters have been getting some help in the form of a rain shower and lighter winds. With the blaze now 30% contained. 2 people killed in the fire, likely trying to get away when they died.
They were on the phone with someone else who talked to authorities, and this person told them that these folks said that they could hear crackling in the background, and then the person on the phone actually said that they could hear popping, and that the people said that they saw a glow. And they were trying to gather their things to get out.
Fox's Alicia Acuna and the George Zimmerman trial were likely to get more of this next week in Florida.
What do you remember about the case?
From what I remember, I know that it happened in Sanford.
As jury selection gets pushed into week 2, the judge deciding to sequester jurors for the murder trial of the neighborhood watchman. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Thanks to Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop for sponsoring our phone lines. You can call our Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline, and you can get over there and get yourself shaving a haircut. 2 bits. Well, a little bit more than 2 bits. Thanks to our friends over at Pizza Hut as well. On Porter Wagoner Boulevard, they have an outstanding lunch special, and on Tuesday nights, they have Kids Eat Free. Children under 12 eat for free. They're on Porter Wagoner Boulevard in West Plains. Make sure you visit Pizza Hut. Our friends at the Battery Station, 303 Washington Avenue at batterystation.com. You can also reach them via telephone at 257-7799. Folks over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. Kenny's a friend of ours and a great supporter of our program. 417-256-3000, located about a mile and a half on Route 160 past Walmart. You can reach him also on the web at westplainspawn.com. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. Half-mile east of Walmart at Route 62 in Mountain Home. You can find them on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. And you can call them at 870-492-4030. My friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, the best damn bakery in 100 miles. She can be reached at 417-255-2253. You can also find her at number 2 Evans Arcade. Outstanding bakery. Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 2930116. Whether remodeling, building new, or doing some kind of custom construction like commercial or farm work, Bill's the guy for you. 2930116.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains. Or call ahead 255-2253. Be sure to like and follow Chantilly's Artisan Bakery on Facebook.
Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information, email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we expect mostly sunny skies at a high of 87 with a chance of late afternoon showers and storms. The chance of rain and thunder shower activity continues tonight. It'll be mostly cloudy, low 68. Sunday, there's a 5 in 10 chance of showers and storms with a high of 86 under partly sunny skies. I'm Rod Tanner, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
Most of us will agree that a toothbrush and toothpaste are very low-cost items when compared to major dental repair work. We just know that it's much less painful to maintain with good dental hygiene and checkups than let things go and see what happens. The same is true with vehicle maintenance. Following recommended fluid maintenance schedules and replacing filters before a problem develops is much more cost-efficient than dealing with a transmission or engine breakdown. Stop by or call Don's Auto Service to schedule the services recommended for your vehicle, 1618 Porter Wagoner Boulevard, or 417-256-2752.
All right, we're back. Listen, we had Chuck Ferguson call in. Chuck is a ex-legislator from the state of Missouri. For those of you who aren't familiar with Chuck Ferguson, he served 2 terms in the House, and then he served 2 terms in the Senate. And Missouri has term limits. And, you know, we got a lot of listeners around the nation who aren't from Missouri, so and our friends in Arkansas as well. We have term limits in Missouri. So Chuck served 2 terms in the Senate, 2 terms in the House, and then has retired. And I don't know, Chuck, are the rules allow you to go back in probably at some point after some window of time, right?
No, it's a lifetime ban.
Okay. So, and by the way, I'm in agreement with a lifetime ban on all politicians. You've served your time and you're finished. That's it. You're done, and you can no longer be a lobbyist. But here's the problem that we've got. Right now, these people who are currently in power are going to do what is right for themselves. They're clearly not representing us anymore. And here's my greatest fear. This thing is going to implode because they're pushing it towards the implosion point. I mean, they're throwing sparklers into the powder room right now, and all we're waiting for is just the pop. And at some point, what's going to happen is there's only going to be one of two phoenixes that rise from these ashes. One of them is going to be the phoenix of tyranny, and we don't even want to go there. But they have a plan for succession, not secession, but succession. They have a plan for what's going to take place. They've got unlimited resources. They've got unlimited wargaming. We, on the other hand, have no plan for succession and who's going to take over if the phoenix that rises from the ashes is called liberty. And here's my greatest concern and fear. We, as republic and founders of the new republic, if you will, don't have a group of people that we have taken the time to investigate, vet, and approve, even as temporary candidates, who we could put in until a true primary could be held. And I have to tell you, I smell the end here, and I'm not alone, by the way. Even Congress smells the end. You can see it on their faces. But at the end, something's going to rise from these ashes. If it's us, the Republican preservers of the Union, then who's going to fill that vacancy? Because you can't have a void in leadership and in government, because it immediately results in anarchy.
Right. Well, that's where we're at today. Is you had a void in leadership, and conservatives didn't step up, and the liberals did, and you can see the results of that. You know, too many conservatives was more interested in trying to go out and rightfully so go out and try to make a living and provide for their family, and they left a void in government. And
they've been compromised. They've sold out. They're Judases.
I think that, now this is my opinion only, but I think you're thinking too far down the box. I think what you're looking at just in the near future is basically survival. If you look back at the financial
wait a second,
world,
Chuck, we can't do that, because even if let's assume for argument's sake that we were to have a massive civil disobedience uprising of 50 million Americans who said to Washington and all the state capitals, you're all out, all your aides are out, anyone who's ever held a federal job before is done. You're finished, that's it. Go retire, go make shoes, we don't give a damn what you do, just get out of here. And we're going to institute or install new people. Here's the alternative. We only have two ways that this can go from this point forward. We either are going to take this nation back by massive civil disobedience, or we're going to lose it, and we're going to have to fight using the Second Amendment as our default ultimate deterrent. And I'm telling you right now that is a war we can't and don't want. So what we can do is, and that's not a time frame, that's not even a survival factor. I'm saying put your survival factor aside. You're going to need it anyway, irrespective of what the outcome is, whether peaceful civil disobedience is the method, or whether or not it comes to a war between our government and our people. Irrespective of that, you need to survive. So everybody should be doing that. That's a given. That's like showing up on time for work and punching the clock. What I am talking about is, where do we go from there? Because at some point, if we win, and we will, somehow, some way, we will win, somebody's got to go back in there and restore order. And that has to be Americans who have the proper intentions. They have to be volunteers, no more pay. You have to ban lobbying. You have to delete these administrative agencies and take everyone who is currently in government. All of these executives, all of these people who are administrative agency employees, they've all got to go. Now, how are we going to get new candidates in there? Nobody's planning and vetting them now. We should be looking at that.
Well, and the number one thing, you can't put good candidates back into a failed system that caused the collapse.
Oh, I guarantee that.
What you're seeing now, and this gets back to a worldwide scale. What you're seeing is basically, this has never happened in the history of the world, where you have countries all across Europe and printing money in a fiat currency. Japan is printing.
Weimar Germany.
Europe. They're all printing. So So basically, what you're going to see is, I think you have to prepare for a collapse of the fiat currencies around the world.
I agree.
That, and you are exactly right. You have to have a plan in place, but the point I was making is you have to survive what I believe is the coming collapse, and then be able in a position to act upon, rebuilding.
I get it, but here's my point. The faster we can put a plan, I would rather have a plan in place now so that our survival window is shorter. If we start planning after the collapse, the survival window suddenly goes from months to potentially years. Nobody can put that much food away. Nobody can support that much ammunition. Nobody can prepare their families and their farms and to live that way. What I would rather see us do is be prepared so that this period of survival that will have to occur is going to be dramatically shortened. And the best way to accomplish that is to make sure that when we utilize the last option we have, which is massive civil peaceful disobedience, that we have a plan in place to put the right people into power as a temporary measure, as an interim short-term constitutionally based government. Because the one that we've got now, we're not going to throw the Constitution out and toss out the baby with the bathwater. The Constitution is the foundation. That what we need to do is take the layers of bureaucracy and lies and cheating and thieving and conniving off of that and throw that away. We need to brush off the Constitution and reuse it as our foundational document. And that's what the new government, the new republic, will be formed from. And you're not going to amend it. You're just going to reinstitute it and say, now everybody's going to follow it, like we should have been doing for the last 200 years. But in the meantime, you've got to have people that can be placed into power as the authorities, a new president, a new cabinet, a new association of congressmen and senators and House members in the federal side, and we don't have those people vetted and cleared and prepared. I'm saying we're missing the boat. I don't disagree that we should be preparing ourselves individually for the financial collapse, but I'd rather prepare for a 6-month window than 6-year window.
Well, I guess at that time I think I have more hope in people being able to look at the candidates and choosing. Right now you have so much apathy that your politicians are elected on 10-second sound bites.
Yeah, but if they haven't eaten in a week, let me tell you, people are going to be paying attention real quick.
You betcha. It used to be that people were involved in their government and they vetted their candidates and they asked them questions and the candidate was a person that decided to leave his business for a short time and go serve and then go back to his business. And I think that you're going to have to just leave that in the hands of the people that are left to pick up the pieces to choose their leadership for them. I don't think you vet candidates now because you don't know who's going to want it, who's going to be left, and I think you have to rely on the people that are left to pick up the pieces to choose their leadership then.
Yeah, but doesn't it make sense to at least have a cadre of potential candidates who say, assuming I come out of this alive on the other end, I'm willing to do it, and I'm willing to put my name into the hat now and be vetted in advance, so that I don't have any skeletons in my closet, and I don't have a drinking problem, and that I'm a constitutionally based individual, and I'm going to do this as an interim service to my country for no charge, and when afterwards we're going to have a short-term period where this is an interim window while we hold literal true elections. And those candidates, with a couple of basic rule changes. Lobbying is finished. You commit lobbying, you've committed treason. End of discussion. No more corporate monies. I don't give a damn what the Supreme Court says. They are not the final arbiter of the Constitution. The people are. We the people. That's it. And enough of that nine archaic rulers up behind some massive table telling us how to interpret it. We already know how to interpret it. How is it that our Constitution was written in 6 pages and it takes them 2,500 pages to pass the tyrannical Obama health care plan? I mean, we've run a country on 6 pages for 200 years. And it's 1,500 pages for an immigration bill. I mean, give me a break. You see, that's the problem. We need to stick to 6 pages and say that's all the law we need. States can have individual laws about robbing a bank or beating up old Mrs. McGillicuddy for her purse. That's fine. But there is no federal operation for law enforcement. The Constitution doesn't even allow it.
Yeah, I guess that you have to follow the blueprint that's been put before us, and that was the blueprint of our founding fathers. And what their envisions was, I believe that the country began going down the wrong road in 1913 when I've heard you say that the U.S. senators was elected by the people instead of by the state government.
17th Amendment, the worst doggone amendment that was ever passed in the United States of America. We're gonna take a break. Stick with me for this break if you can hold on. Folks, we'll be back in just a minute. We're talking with Chuck Ferguson. We'll be right back.
The thought process behind the leak on the next Alan Colmes Show. NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden said he leaked the information so the American public could make up its own mind. Now, a new poll says the majority of people agree with the agency's data mining. Are people really that willing to give up their liberties for a bit more security? We'll have analysis on the next Alan Colmes Show.
Weekdays 9 to midnight. It's the Alan Colmes Show on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point.
The Battery Station in West Plains is your headquarters for getting and being prepared. Natural disasters, civil unrest, personal and family protection, long-term sustenance, and most importantly, peace of mind. Berkey bottles and home-sized water purification systems, survival food, MREs, freeze-dried food, survival knives, lanterns, ammunition, military sleep system, and of course, batteries of all shapes and sizes. Take charge of your own survival and security. The Battery Station, 303 Washington and West Plains, 417-257-7799 or batterystation.com.
Whether it's a serious fall, fire danger, or other type of home emergency, Life Alert is there for you. The company with its slogan, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up," protects its members. Here are some of them.
When you have a heart attack like I did and there's no one there, Life Alert was there for me.
Having a secure feeling through Life Alert is ideal.
My independence is possible because of it.
Now, Life Alert can also protect you in a fire emergency with a system that automatically notifies our monitoring center.
Thanks to Life Alert, you can live alone without ever being alone.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-815-9441. That's 1-800-815-9441. Call now, 1-800-815-9441. For a free brochure, call 1-800-815-9441. 1-800-815...
All right, folks, we're back. We're having an interesting discussion here with Chuck Ferguson. Chuck is an ex-legislator from the state of Missouri who was served 2 terms in the House and 2 terms in the Senate, and term limited out, and he is now permanently retired from state politics. I suppose he could run nationally. And we're having a discussion about where do we go from here, because the problem is that at some point in time this whole thing is going to blow up in our faces like a bubblegum balloon, and we have to have an interim group that steps in and says, we're 535, let's say, people, and a president and a vice president who have agreed and to be pre-vetted so that when order descends, well, if you want to call this order now, I mean, once chaos becomes the ultimate chaos, we have a group of people who are willing to step in and fill the slot of an interim government until such time as 6 months goes by or a year goes by that we can hold proper elections based on the Constitution. And in the meantime, we have an opportunity to pass or at least create the framework to make sure that some of these things, which are unconstitutional or extra-constitutional in their nature, are blocked. Items like lobbying and things like that. We have to have a plan of action so that when this happens, we're not standing here saying, okay, let's start planning now, because that will take our survival window and make it go from months to potentially years. That's my point. Your thoughts?
Well, and I guess that you're a deeper thinker than I, because I haven't really thought that far out. Basically what my opinion is you prepare for the collapse of the fiat currency, and then how do you get your family through that? The people that you love, how do you survive that? Because we're in a situation that's never been here in the history of the world, where you have the printing that's going on based on nothing.
But that's my point, though. But
I think
failing to plan is planning to fail, because we can't just look at this and just only look as far as the end of our noses and say, okay, I've got enough food for my family. Because I can tell you this, the number of people that are planning are so nominal that all the other people are going to be looking to those people and saying, hey, can you give me some rice? Can you give me some beans? Can you give me some corn? Can you give me a piece of steak? What's going to happen is...
wouldn't that be an amazing time to talk about a new way of doing things that prevents the problems that are occurring?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is a lot of those requests are going to come at the other end of a gun. I mean, this will descend into chaos very, very quickly. The neighbor who you were having a discussion with on Saturday evening over a beer about your favorite movie will be the same guy who will be kicking in your door for a can of peas that's up in your cupboard because his kids haven't eaten, and he'll be willing to kill you dead. There's going to be no time to have a discussion with him about what we should have done. My point is the Tea Party organizations that are out there, the Libertarian Party that's out there, the Constitution Party that's out there, those groups ought to be collectively getting together and putting together a brand new organization so that of individuals who are pre-vetted, pre-cleared, modified. We want to make sure that they have no skeletons in their closet, that they're competent and capable of running, right, or filling an interim slot, and that they agree to do so. So we don't have an alternative, because what's going to happen is, Obama is not going to allow a collapse. He's going to declare martial law. That's going to create a civil war in this country. Whoever comes out the victor of that, whether it's us or them, assuming us, he's going to suspend elections and all the rest of that. Our goal will be to say, we don't really care what you do, even if it means that we got to take 20 or 30 states out of the 50 and say, we're creating our own republic. But we need leaders who are going to be able to step right into those roles, not wait until everybody's down to 80 pounds and looking like a bunch of Auschwitz survivors. Because, we can't think clearly when we have empty bellies. And the reality of this thing is very simple. We're either going to have a plan of action that's going to be created and formulated by the Tea Party, the Constitution Party, the Libertarian Party, because we can't deal with the Republicans and the Democrats. They're too far gone. They've already been usurped and corrupted, and they've been compromised. And frankly, I think the first rule that we ought to set in place is that no parties are allowed at all, period. That's a whole different discussion we can have. But the point is, we've got to have somebody in place to step right in immediately. You can't have even a week of no leadership, because what you'll have is anarchy, and that's unrecoverable.
Well, I guess that my opinion is I'm a little bit leery of preordained people, running for office and ordained. I think that at the time of crisis, good Americans will rise up. I think you have to have a structure and a framework, and I guess you would have to do that through a third-party system. The problem with running third party is the inability to raise any money, because you're basically shut off from any way of getting your message out. And when you have a population that are too busy working and tune out the political process, how do you go against a system that's based on TV ads, radio ads?
Yeah, but this system is going to be dead. We know that. This system is going to be closed down. It ain't going to take money at that point. It's going to take people with thoughts and ideas who are going to stand up like our founders did, and the people will willingly follow those men of courage and women of courage and fortitude and integrity and honor. And I'm saying we should find out who those people are now, so that when the time comes, we can give those people the microphone and say, now do your thing. Let's make sure that you are a leader and that you're bringing us back from the brink of chaos into some level of order, even if it's only a temporary measure. And at that point, then you can have open elections where you do audio, where you do video and audio and media and all the rest of that. But something's got to fill that immediate explosive void.
I guess that that's something that I'd have to sit and think about on what to do. But I guess some of your structure is already in place through some of your constitutional party, your libertarian party. I think that there's a need for basically an independence where you're not affiliated with any party.
Absolutely. Let me posit this idea to you. What a perfect way for the Tea Party, the Constitution Party, and the Libertarian Party, and the Independent, which doesn't really have a party, to raise awareness and awakening in America by saying we are currently seeking applicants to vet for the new government. You want to talk about a media explosion? Let me tell you something. I can't think of a better way to wake up the other 70% of America who's still asleep than to kick their bed with jackboots and say, we're now looking for brand new candidates and we're inviting you to apply. And frankly, the Tea Party, the Libertarian Party, and the Constitution Party should be putting out press releases and TV commercials for that instead of supporting scumbag candidates like Jason Smith. I mean, what the hell? Let's spend that money on something wise and start putting out national advertising that says we are currently in the process of vetting candidates for the new Republic of the United States of America that is going to pick up the ashes of the destroyed United States of America, demonized, destroyed, and broken by this existing government and administration. I can't think of a better way to wake up America.
I think that, first of all, you would have to be able to withstand the onslaught of the press saying that you're right-wing conspiracy nuts.
That's okay.
But that's okay because then when the opportunity does arise, then you have that system in place.
Well, and my response to them would be, well, you called me a conspiracy theorist when I told you that the NSA was monitoring everybody's information, and that proved true. And you said I was a conspiracy theorist when I said that the IRS was being used as an assault weapon against the president's enemies, and that was true. And you said I was a conspiracy theorist when I said that Benghazi was a scandal, and that was true. And you said I was a conspiracy theorist when I said that Obamacare was going to cost us trillions of dollars, and that became true. So are you still going to call me a conspiracy theorist when I tell you that this nation is about to collapse into anarchy and we're preparing for it?
Right. Yeah, I think so, because I think 90% of your people have no idea what's going on.
But maybe they'll how many? Look, if 25 million just go out there and start thinking about it, at least they won't be caught unawares. And the more research they do, the more they look into it, the more apparent it's going to become that this is the end scenario that's happening today. They won't be able to avoid it if they're intellectually honest. I mean, I get it. There's going to be ostriches who are going to keep their head in the sand no matter what. But this, at least as an option, would start to raise awareness in millions of Americans who don't even know what the hell's going on. They can't remember what they had for breakfast yesterday, much less what's going to happen tomorrow. And when it comes to government, half of them can't even spell it.
Well, most of them can't name who their elected officials are.
I get it. So why not give them something to, this is like building a fantasy football team, except it's politics.
Yeah, I guess, quick, I like to ponder things, but I guess that the idea to have the structure in place is a good one. I think that you're going to need it at some point. You're just going to have to be able to withstand the pressure of people that think you're nuts right now, and you don't think that the people that don't understand that the system that's
hey, Chuck,
built by the politicians.
I get it. So, I've been withstanding that pressure for the last 25 years of my life.
Right.
I have absolutely no problem wearing a tinfoil hat if that's what they require. But I'll tell you what, if they'll give me an opportunity to explain why it's not tinfoil, I guarantee I can convince an enormous amount of people. I want to thank you very much for joining with us. Our time is up this morning, and our music's in the background. I'd like to have you think about that, and I'd invite you to come back in after you've had a chance to, mull it about a little bit. And let's have an intelligent, articulate, reasoned, logical discussion about it. I'd love to if you'd be willing to do that with us.
I'd love to.
Thanks so much, Chuck. Appreciate you. Folks, you've listened to America's Voice this morning. America's Voice Now. You can find us on the web every day at americasvoicenow.org. You can find this and every other YouTube show that we do on YouTube. And I would encourage you to please share today's show. Let's get a national movement in place.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is KBNV Birch Tree is the Ozarks best news talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.